Conor McGregor, USADA, UFC, Michael Chandler. Someone's got to blink. Whatever's going on, are we looking in the wrong direction? Because all the media's ever talked about is, well, it's Conor USADA. He's got to enter the pool. And I don't know. Is that what it is? Is it as simple as that? Because I see it a little bit different. I see Conor as being very sincere when he says, I want to fight in December. And moreover, Conor McGregor has only sold to you one thing. The only thing that you've bought that wasn't real was power. It's a massive importance that you understand that concept. I have heard people in our sport, leaders, voices with the fancy suits in front of the microphones, talk about how, well, he's holding all the cards. I could tell you the guys that said, I remember sitting there going, oh, God, it's no wonder you didn't make any money in this business. No idea what this business is. And I only share that with you because while Conor has sold that, he's never gotten pushback. Anything he's gone for, he got. And either because he had positioning or he had the deal done ahead of time before he brought it to you, so he looked powerful. But it's important that you understand this play. This is wildly out of character for Conor McGregor to call for a date publicly. Not once. Not he slipped something out and it came up, and that's not really what I meant. Not twice, not 3 times. He's done it in 3 interviews. He's now done it on social media. He had artwork created, or at least created and sent to him that he liked enough to put it. I mean, I'm just sharing. This is a very different approach. I don't think, for one, that he's bluffing. I think he's serious. I think he does want the date. And I think he made a Hail Mary pass like any other fighter. Which there's only been a few guys over time to put out artwork that wasn't real and then be denied. Like, it's a wildly effective strategy. But it was denied. And when I tell you that somebody has to blink, I know the only questions that have ever been asked are the ones that have to do with does the UFC have the power to book Conor McGregor, which they do, or is USADA right, he's got to sit for 180 days, of which there's an argument for. Now, the answer, just so you understand, the answer is we don't want to do the fight. And I'm talking about UFC USADA. It's not about who's right, who's got this. It's not about, we don't want to do the fight. We work with you every day. We have a relationship. We see that you went out of hand, spoke to the media. We see that you put yourself in a corner, and now you're going to position to back it up instead of saying, we never should have said that. Right? But I'm just sharing with you that it looks as though that fight just isn't going to get done. And that Conor's going to have to go in the pool and that he's going to have to wait. Fine. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'm close and we're in that vicinity. And the only media members that have ever asked a question of Dana as it pertains to that fight, ask about that. But that has never been stated by Dana as the problem that was created by the media. So then they followed up with their own question that they don't know if the premise was accurate from in the first place. So now you have Michael Chandler. At some point, a prize fighter is going to want a prize, and he's going to want to fight. And at some point, he's going to need to fight to get the prize, right? I mean, this makes sense. And sitting here and waiting, not to mention, you only stay hot for X amount of time. Now, Conor's a master of keeping that going, but other guys don't have that same skill. You will get forgot about very quickly. And coming on the back of The Ultimate Fighter, which is the single greatest marketing vehicle this sport has, it's the single greatest marketing vehicle ever created in this sport, not just that company. You got to strike and you've got to go, and things only cool as the day goes on. I'm just bringing this to you. At some point, Chandler is going to have to make a demand that we have a deal by this time or we don't have a deal at all. Well, that's a very risky thing, right? You ever go in with a blow, he's not going in to go get a different fighter because he wants a different deal. It's going in to try to box them in and get an answer. But when you do that, you got to be ready to live with the answer because those things do get called. I mean, I'll just share with you, we have a game of chess going on. And there could be a direction we're not looking. I am not convinced if Conor entered the pool that 180 days from now, we have a fight. I'm not convinced of that. I'm not convinced that not entering the pool is what's holding up this fight. I am convinced Conor wants to fight. So I'm not suggesting like there's some conspiracy on Conor's side. It feels as though there's something else. And we are at a very different time. I can remember there was a December that had a pay-per-view. And Conor McGregor announces, I want to fight next month. And there was no date at all. Not a pay-per-view, not a free ticket. There was no date. There was no venue. There was no ticket. There was nothing. They put a card together. Oh, by the way, they sold it out in 24 hours. It was massive. It's Cowboy Cerrone opposite Conor McGregor. There was no title on the line. It was Conor McGregor. It wasn't even within his weight class. It wasn't a contender's fight. It wasn't nothing but, it was just Conor McGregor. I mean, that is what the draw, that is what the sell with 24 hours within tickets, that's what sold out. Not a storyline, not anything else. And Red Panty Night is still a real thing. Red Panty Night is still king. There's guys hot on this trail, and there's guys that have closed the gap. But they're not there yet. And it seems as though that gap is what the sweet spot was. It seems as though there's something massively that's missing here. And I know that you have created the idea that it has to do with USADA in the 180 days, but nobody's actually told us that. We don't actually have that information. And at some point, as sweet as that match might have looked, Michael Chandler's going to want to get on with it, and he's going to have to. So whether he makes a call and they call him on his bluff or not, and his punishment is, okay, you go and fight somebody else, he's going to have to fight somebody else at some point. And we first talked about this 3 months ago, right? If you didn't get on with it, all he's going to do is waste time. And it's going to be the end of the year in just a minute here. And then according to USADA, you got 180 days. And according to me, that's a fight that just isn't going to be half. The UFC can book Conor right now. The commissions could have gone and asked him for a sample. USADA could go ask him for a sample. Conor is completely in the right within the legal ability, in my opinion. And that's a fight I'd really like to see. I'm here to tell you that fight isn't going to happen. Whatever the cost. If it means we don't get Red Panty Night, if it means whatever the cost, we're not going to have this fight with these guys we work too closely to. I feel as though we have that answer. So can we have the fight at all? If so, by when? I'm not asking you when. I'm not saying when's the fight. I'm saying by when. Will they fight by January 1st of 2025? Do you guarantee it? Are you sure? Is this something we should even still be talking about? Because I got to tell you, not only am I losing interest, when I talk about it, I start to feel like a little bit of a fool.